Well, that's city life, Same thing happens here, but less frequently.
Yeah. Folks, welcome to Werewolf Radar, the world's premier paranormal peepiness podcast. My name is Jordan Dahl.
I am Roger Norquist.
Today's episode of Werewolf Radar is brought to you by the Monstroco External Orifice. No mouth, no problem. A simple outpatient procedure will provide you with a slurping vortex on a china plate that leads directly to your stomach. Simply throw your dinner into the vortex and it will be instantly transported into your stomach most of the time. Be sure to use the chewing fork before delivering food into the orifice, and make sure to keep the orifice out of the hands of children's pets and enemies. Monstroco External Orifice. Who's ready to poop again?
I am.
Hell yeah.
Let me tell you how I have had issues. Not to be gross about it, but the chewing fork is the proper preparation for my stomach.
Oh, absolutely.
I also have the weak jaw, so swallowing for me just sucks right now.
Yeah.
Where this does it for me.
Dude, it sounds like you would be a perfect candidate for this. They'd probably even remove your mouth free of charge when you're getting the orifice installed and connected. And then you wouldn't have to worry about stuff like talking, secrets, bugs getting into your mouth, tasting a bad taste.
I hate that.
You dump it all onto the plate, you mash it all up, you masticate the shit out of it with the chewing fork, and you slide it into that orifice, and all of a sudden you're full, and you're burping and you're pooping again. And yeah, sure, every once in a while somebody throws a handful of change in there, or some broken glass, or a campfire, and you got to deal with that. But I mean, I think it's worth it for people without mouths, at least.
My question, which I will eventually hear back from Monstroco, is where does the food sometimes go?
So sometimes it'll go not right into the stomach, but surrounding organs. Like you get a dinner roll in the lung, or a green bean on the brain. But the body is equipped to take care of that. The body will digest food wherever it ends up. It'll absorb it back into the system. And maybe your brain needs, a little grape in the middle.
Gotcha. Non-edible things? Like what if I was to throw a lamp in there? Could I get the nutrients from the lamp?
Yeah, that's going into the stomach. I mean, I don't know if you're going to be able to digest a full lamp, but you'll definitely have to pass it.
I like it. Yeah. Another fine product from Monstroco.
They've done it. And you can even leave the orifice at home and have your chef or your family put food into it while you're on a trip somewhere. If you have a special diet, they'll just put sludges in there when it's time. This is perfect for people who have lost their mouths to an industrial accident, or a curse from a witch, or a Monstroco mouth-taking mirror.
I like how they build their own solutions to some of their own problems.
Yeah, vertical
integration. Yeah.
Absolutely. Roger, what do we have for the people this week? We got no Nate. Nate has once again been pulled down under the surface of reality by grasping tentacles.
Yes. Well, I have for us a little while ago, I interviewed one Sue Walker. Some of you might remember the video has been seen by exactly 7 people.
Nice.
I kid. A lot of people viewed it. Thank you for viewing it. But Sue Walker is the human contactee for the people known as the Pnti.
Ah, yes. These are aliens, right?
These are aliens, yes. And
we're not supposed to call them that, are we?
I think we are. We're going to get into it. I have found, and we might do this in multiple episodes, probably 2, We'll see what happens. This is from studylib.net, study and then lib.net. And it is a document uploaded by one John Pierce called The Pnti Gardeners of Intellect by Jeff Dimmers and Sarah, aka Sarah. Saha is a Pnti.
Okay.
Spelled SRH apostrophe.
Oh, that's it? I thought there was going to be apostrophe something.
Nope.
Just okay, got it.
For those who have not seen my interview with Sue Walker, please check that out on our YouTube. But maybe also SRH apostrophe. In the brackets to how to pronounce it, we have SRAH dash HA.
Saraha. Like that app for telling people the truth. You remember there was that app where you could send anonymous messages and be like, "You smell like Pringles." Look, I need to tell you something. Your teeth aren't teeth. They're little bugs, and everyone knows it.
To be honest, I think I try to forget that awful time. It told me a lot of truths I wasn't ready for.
I had a lot of people telling me that they had crushes on me and other people telling me that I needed to get sober. That was pretty much the entire
experience.
Thing. Yeah.
So for those who don't know, a little catch up, the Pnti cause no fear, do no harm, and leave no trace. That is their axiom. Who are they? What are they like? And what is their mission is what we are going to briefly explain. And this is the introduction of that article. These areas to gain better and greater understandings of the beings we call the Pnti. So the Pnti are a telepathic race of greys that have a close lineage to the Sasani or Shikani alien races, which I don't think we've ever talked about either one of those. These are both new to me. I don't know about you, Jordan, and why I'm going to do some more research. And this is probably going to be multiple parts.
I love it. Please tell me about the Pnti. I want to learn their ways so that when they come, I can ingratiate myself into their society, eat their food, and mispronounce their languages.
This is a piece of art, I do believe, this is by Sue Walker. Sue Walker, along with being a Pnti contactee, is also a painter.
Contactee?
Yeah, Pntactee.
Okay.
This is what the Pnti look like. You might recognize them or categorize them with the grays.
Right. We're not supposed to call them grays, though. That's what I was thinking of. We don't call them grays. We call them Pnti.
Well, and then there's other and Pnti-like races too. The Sasani, the Shikani, other things too. I'm researching all this. I'm just going into the one connection that I have already and the ones that we have the most research on.
He'd be miserable kissers, those thin, dour lips, says Chad. I got to say, though, good-looking fella. That's not what you generally see when you think of a gray. You think of kind of a reptilian, amphibious, unemotional creature.
Collarbones
but
were very human.
Yeah, that picture, those cheekbones, those collarbones, looks like he could have a conversation about, I don't know, music. What do people talk about?
Music. Now, like what you mentioned in our news, check out that soon in the week. These grays are similar to humans, kinda, in that they have retained their technical and emotional development, allowing them to be able to communicate with us as a civilization. The Pnti also possess very strong telepathic abilities. Their heritage goes back hundreds of centuries, linked to the Zeta Reticulum constellation.
Okay, I've heard about Zeta Reticuli.
Yes,
before.
Barney and Betty Hill, the extraterrestrials that abducted them, were from that area. And in fact, if you listen to my interview with Sue Walker, the Pnti that she contacts have admitted to taking various people. In fact, the Pnti are the ones who supposedly, in their words, took Betty and Barney Hill for what the Pnti claimed was a wellness check.
What? So somebody called in a wellness check to be like, I think my friends need some help. I think they're drinking too much. We haven't heard from them in a few days. And the Pnti intercepted that and they were like, we'll take care of it.
And that's today's definition of that. I think we're also in 1960, 50 and whatnot. And the Pnti are trying to translate to what we would understand. I think they just like abducted them to make sure that they didn't have cancer or like they were going, like all their organs were working right.
Yeah. And we've also got to like
what we do with lions in the Serengeti.
Yes, exactly. What we do with lions and rabbits and otters and shit. Like imagine the stories that that a mountain lion tells when it gets back to the other mountain lions. And it's like, yeah, these fucking things just grabbed me. I think they put like a device around my neck or something or under my skin. And then they just let me go. And they're like, why? Why did they do that? And on our end, it's like, well, we wanted to study you. And maybe it's as simple as that. They're just like, we just want to, we are ecologists and we just want to know what's going on with you guys.
We just think you're neat.
Like to what end though? Are you going to help us? No. We're just studying. Just making sure. We're actually not allowed to interfere. But we will interfere in that we'll take you and put chips in you.
Yes, but that's not what we consider interference, truly.
Yeah.
And of course, for those deep in the alien iceberg, as you know, many of the Pnti also have their modern origins in the Pleiades star cluster. Mm-hmm. They're a space-faring race. Most of their lives are spent on large motherships, so a lot of them don't see the planets for a lot of their existence. They mainly are on motherships and travel from place to place.
Sounds all right, right? Be like living on a cruise ship, kind of.
I would be into that. Star Trek primed me well for it, to where like there's families growing up on the Star Trek Enterprise.
Yeah, they've been there for generations.
Occasionally, they venture to known planets where they can seed or monitor life beings to help maintain future development. It has been reported that their son, Merope, or as we call it, I think 23 Tari.
I like their name.
Merope.
Yeah.
In the Pleiades star cluster is where most of the modern Pnti originate. Merope is about 380 light years from Earth, and there is an orange dust-like planet that orbits Merope that some would call home. Others call it prison, and that's why they live on the motherships, to not see their family and travel the way they wanted.
Get the fuck out of this place. Do you think that their world was once like lush and green and then they blasted it into an ecological dust bowl?
From my interview with Sue Walker, I didn't ask her that. That's not me. That would have been a really good question.
Noted.
I had other questions that I was asking that I was interested in, and that
what are their dicks like?
What?
Do they have boobs? Are they cool boobs?
Now, let's talk about their evolution.
Okay.
The Pnti are closely related to the Sasani, which are known as the third hybrid race.
Oh.
Although they are an offshoot of the Sasani, their heritage is far from that of the Tao, which I don't know what that is. Try Googling that. You're going to have some fun. It's spelled exactly like the stock market.
Oh, okay, fun.
Now, their heritage is far from that of the Tao and do not consider themselves connected with that race, the Shoshani. The Pnti are believed to be part of the Association of Worlds, which is similar to our idea of a federation.
Yeah, the UN.
Although their name Pnti has no official historical Earth reference, they accept this name bestowed to them by us and accept it as their distinction within their family of the Shoshani or Sasani and Shikani race.
Oh, so we gave them that.
We gave them that, and they went, you know what? We were going by Mukluk for the longest time. That's way better.
Yours is better.
Yours is better.
It's kind of like how Germans call themselves Deutschlanders, but the English call them Germans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Allemand. Now, the Pnti are centuries old, about 600 to 800 years of us, 800 years ahead of us telepathically. So eventually, we're going to become telepathic, Jordan.
Sure. I mean, I'm already telepathic.
800 years, we can talk to people.
Test me right now. Think of a shape.
Okay. Was I supposed to say it?
No, I'm picking up on it right now. Think of it harder. A triangle.
Oh, close.
It's a pyramid?
No, the dad from the oblongs.
Ah, the dad from the oblongs. One of the four primary shapes. What a great show that was.
Now, in terms of their telepathy, Sue Walker, who is the contactee for Earth, one of them, contacts them.
Who are the other ones?
There's other ones. We'll get to it. This is a
Kid
multi-part
Rock,
episode.
Shaq. Shelley Duvall.
Now, they contact Sue Walker from the Sandia mountain range. And they rarely truly see her, but contact with her telepathically. They do visit physically with people.
Oh.
Supposedly, they have a tendency to visit people who interview their contactees. And so, when I interviewed Sue before we started, she was like, "Are you okay with them visiting you?" And I went, "Sure.
Yeah, fuck yeah."
Now, I don't remember if I've been visited, but I don't think I have yet. Oh, also, one of the Pnti that contacts Sue likes MASH and goes by the name Radar.
Okay.
Now let's get back to just general Pnti evolution.
Okay, hit me.
The Pnti, the Pnti, in terms of their evolution telepathically, 800 years ahead of us, this equates to our mental capabilities in unison to our physical attributes. So like things they can do telepathically, we can only do physically.
Okay,
communication, they can interact with stuff, shit like that.
So they can like move stuff around the room. They can be like,
oh, they're level 2 mutants, man.
Swarm. Like I could splorm off the air conditioner if I wanted to.
Yes. The Pnti also reside mostly physically in 5D.
Oh, geez.
But can appear to us in 4D and physically in 3D, where like proper like interactions as we know happen, to where like I physically have to touch this. This isn't something that I can alter through time and whatever even higher dimensions would be.
Yeah.
This has some unique trade-offs. This 3D density is difficult for them to maintain and extended in an extended life form. So they must lower their vibration and adjust their frequency at the same time, which is difficult for them to maintain for long periods of time. Some energy is lost in the transition, which yields us to see a hint or shadow of them, explaining some shadow person encounters.
Sure.
Yes. The Pnti mainly see us as an energy signature, and once recognized, can tap into us very easily anywhere. A little aside from that, in the future, there's going to be 7 hybrid races, and as we evolve with their help, we will become the 6th hybrid race.
Oh, cool. That's cool, right?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. They will become the 6th hybrid race.
Oh, shit.
And we will become the last 7th hybrid race.
The 7th? That's even better. That's like us. That's like them becoming the Green Ranger and us becoming the White Ranger, right?
You know it, baby.
Hell yeah.
Now, I don't know how long I've talked for, but this goes into physical description.
Give us a little physical. I want to hear
habits,
about the food. What are they eating?
Education, children.
Please pick one more and give us a little tidbit. I want to hear about what they're eating, because when I imagine aliens eating food, it's not a delightful scenario.
I'll cover it again in the real one. This is a tidbit of next episode.
Okay.
And like when I found this, Jordan, I was all like, I needed to ask her so many better questions, but I just had an hour of her time.
I think you did a great job.
Now, food. Get ready for it, Jordan.
I'm ready.
The Pnti are pescatarian.
Okay.
As a general rule, they digest small live fish.
Oh, boy. Scary.
They are also known. Oh, by the way, their teeth, no molars. They got shark's teeth.
Whoa, that's even scarier.
I don't know if it's layered, but it's very tiny, like sharp teeth.
Right. Yikes. Now, why are they pescatarian?
They also eat green leafy plants, flowers, roots. They're pretty much human diet. Cabbage, seaweed, vines.
Cabbage, huh? What are we having for dinner on the spaceship tonight? Cabbage again?
Cabbage and seaweed.
Boy, I hate to say it, but these are all the ingredients that you would find in a Wahoo's fish taco.
Yes.
So I think if you're at a Wahoo's,
it is.
Just take a second to look around. You know, there's the fish. There's a little coleslaw on there. Take a second to look around and be like, who among these people is a Pnti in disguise? And then we give you Werewolf Radar's permission to leap up and pull off their Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle hat, trench coat, and rubber mask and be like, gotcha, bitch.
Maybe not be so aggressive with it.
Sure. I guess you could just be nice about it and be like, excuse me, are you?
And like politely rip off their mask and like say, Pnti? Gotcha, bitch.
Gotcha, bitch. Yeah.
One more thing, and then I'll wrap up, Jordan.
Okay.
The Pnti do not like spicy food.
Okay.
They like a little bit of heat,
Pnti.
but they don't like spicy food.
I like a little bit of heat, but I wasn't raised with the same chilies that the people of Colorado were.
Gotcha.
Nor the same like kind of machismo, I need to eat hot things or else I'm not a man.
Yeah, you didn't grow up with that.
And so it never really developed in me. And so as a result, I have a soft British mouth that enjoys a bit of vinegar now and then and a little bit of black pepper perhaps, but that's all I need. Thank you.
Well, because I can't get enough of this, one more thing. The Pnti can belch. They find it amusing. And channel it through their nose.
They love it. That's so funny.
But
so it's farting to them.
It's farting to them, yeah. Belching is their farting, especially when it goes through the nose.
Oh boy, I'm constantly farting through my nose.
But that's my segment, Pnti Wanti.
Pnti Wanti.
I don't know what that means. Maybe I want.
You know what it means. You wanty Pnti.
I wanty the Pnti. Anyway, shout out to Sue Walker, Radar, and the people who actually put this together. Their names were the Human, which is now something we have to define in future America. Human Jeff Demers and Pnti Saha.
And let's bring back Saraha. I think I could use more anonymous tips. If you want to tell me that you have a crush on me or that I need to sober up, please get on Saraha and hit me up. I will look at them. And because I don't know who you are, I don't know if I should respect your opinion or not. So,
to be honest, you can hack that on Twitter. Anonymous new account.
Okay. And then just message myself.
Just message.
Be like, Jordan, you need to sober up. And I'll be like, I can't any further. I don't know what you want. I'm not giving up the burritos. I just discovered them.
Don't. Sometimes you need something for you. Okay.
Oh boy, I need that burrito. It was the size and heft of a guinea pig. And I don't know what that means for me.
Anyway, if you want to know what we're talking about, think about joining our Patreon at patreon.com/Werewolf Radar, to where you can see Jordan, Nate, and I discuss delicious foods before every episode.
Absolutely. I want to take the speaking skull, if I may.
You may. Here you go. Don't let it burn you.
A small secret into its mouth.
Ooh, that's the hot end.
I tasted the stuff out of the thermometer. And then I'm going to start my segment. Okay, there we go. The skull has activated. And I'm going to be talking today about, you guessed it, the hot new cryptid on the block. This cryptid is enjoying a bit of a moment, at least on Reddit and a little bit on Twitter.
Yeah, voguing Sasquatch.
We're talking about voguing Sasquatch. No. We are talking about the giant jellyfish.
Ooh.
Yeah, you've seen, there have been snippets floating around on the boards. Cheesebot brought it up on Twitter. We were reading a little bit about it there. I found the source material for a lot of that stuff. And we're going to read about some of the main sightings and encounters of the giant jellyfish. And when we talk about giant, we're talking about like something that people have described as being over an acre in size. We're talking about like
feet, right?
Like kaiju level giant at this point. Like, I mean, giant squid, pretty big.
Giant jellyfish, gigantic.
Jellyfish, yeah, taking giant to a new level. Colossal, titanic jellyfish. So we're going over to cryptidarchives.fandom.com. They do great work over there. This is the page about the giant jellyfish, and they describe it as reports from the world's ocean about the largest known jellyfish in existence. Now, the current largest known jellyfish in existence is the lion's mane jellyfish of cold northern seas, but specifically larger specimens have been occasionally reported from temperate and tropical waters. Seems like the warmer the water gets, the more these lion's mane jellyfish are able to grow.
Ooh,
the biggest
change.
One,
slow down. We can't face giant jellyfish now as well.
Right. We might already be. So significantly larger specimens have occasionally been reported in temperate and tropical waters. A distinct group of unnamed cryptid marine invertebrates, usually lumped together with giant jellyfish, are very large, shapeless animals seen mainly in the Pacific Ocean, which have been reported to prey on sharks. These are sometimes explained as actual giant jellyfish, not all of which possess the famous long tentacles, but other theories have been proposed. So we're going to get right into the sightings, which will make what I just said a little clearer.
It reminds me of that one creature. I think that one unknown creature, a deep sea tunneling or oil company caught that was like a sheet that was ever changing. I think that was very jellyfish of just bizarre nature as well. There
are tons of weird things down there. And as people like to say, that we know more about space than we do about the deep ocean, which is probably not true, but it sounds nice in a soundbite. 1953, a well-known encounter with a giant amorphous sea creature, sometimes referred to as a giant jellyfish, was allegedly made by an Australian diver in the South Pacific in 1953. The case was first chronicled in the literature of Eric Frank Russell in his book, Great World Mysteries, 1967. Russell's source is unclear. According to Russian works, the diver was named Christopher Loeb and Christopher Lupa. His story was published in an undisclosed newspaper. So it's either Christopher Loeb or Christopher Lupa, depending on which source you're using, which muddies the waters further, but whatever. The diver was testing a new deep-sea diving suit when he allegedly saw the creature rise out of the deeper water to paralyze and kill a large shark.
Ooh.
So this is the story. All the way down, I was followed by a 15-foot shark, which circled around full of curiosity, but made no attempt to attack. 15 feet, that's a big boy. I kept wondering how far down he would go. He was still hanging around some 30 feet from me and about 20 feet higher when I reached a ledge below, which was a great black chasm of enormous depth, it being dangerous to venture farther. I stood looking into the chasm while the shark waited for my next move. Suddenly, the water became distinctly colder. While the temperature continued to drop with surprising rapidity, I saw a black mass rising from the darkness of the chasm. It floated upwards very slowly. As at last light reached it, I could see that it was of dull brown color and tremendous size. A flat, ragged edge about the thing, about 1 acre in extent. It pulsated sluggishly, and I knew that it was alive, despite its lack of visible limbs or eyes. So this doesn't have the tentacles. This is more of just a kind of a mass.
Yeah, and it's a misconception that all jellyfish have the tentacles. Like, there's lots of jellyfish species that are just the blobbish head.
Just the blobby part.
But to see one coming at you like that, that'd be like a horror beyond something I can even comprehend. And I like swimming in the ocean.
Me too. But every once in a while, it reminds you of the true horrors it contains. And also like the idea of standing on the edge of this chasm and feeling the water get colder. My first instinct is that something from the deeper parts of this water was pushing up a swell of water as it rose, very spooky. Flat ragged edge. Still pulsating, this frightful vision floated past my level, by which time the coldness had become most intense. The shark now hung completely motionless, paralyzed either by cold or fear. While I watched fascinated, the enormous brown thing reached the shark, contacted him with its upper surface. The shark gave a convulsive shiver and was drawn, unresisting, into the substance of the monster. Crazy.
How do jellyfish work? Do they just absorb the food?
Fucking jellyfish. How do they work?
I don't know. It's a motherfucking miracle.
This almost seems like this shark being that they're predators, they have that peripheral vision. They see things out of the side. It almost seems like this shark felt the change in the water and knew that something was coming, but it didn't know where it was coming from. And when it rose up from beneath it, caught it by surprise. It sounds like when it touched the surface of the shark, it got stung. It sounds like it because it convulses and maybe even was paralyzed. Who knows? And then it just straight up like blobbed it into it, like all gelatinous cube style. Just absorbed it. Or maybe this is how they feed from below. Maybe it has some kind of orifice on top of it that is made for engulfing foods of this nature. Who knows?
I am looking up jellyfish, how they eat, and there is like a hole in the blob that is its mouth that it just puts it by, and it absorbs and it eats it, and then it also poops out that same hole.
This is from nice. Same. This is from Ken in the chat. Jellyfish release enzymes that dissolve the flesh into nutrients. They're basically stomach/brains and little else. Yikes. I stood perfectly still, says Loeb, not daring to move while the brown thing sank back into the chasm as slowly as it had emerged. Darkness swallowed it, and the water started to regain some warmth. God knows what this thing was, but I had no doubt that it had been born of the primeval slime countless fathoms below. Fucking cool encounter, bro. Okay, next up.
I think this might be what they saw too. If you don't mind, Jordan.
Please.
I just wanted to play this one. This is from Oceans America. This is a cone jellyfish eating another cone jellyfish.
Oh boy. Oh boy, hot cone on cone action. Can I see it one more time? It kind of sounds
like that, like just enveloped it.
Mm-hmm. Pretty horrific. Crazy. Okay, so we're going to flash forward from 1953 to 1969. That's almost 20 years, believe it or not.
Oh my, I'm old.
It's about 16 years. Fortean researcher Richard Weiner, hilarious, 1925 to 2016, best known for his interest in the Bermuda Triangle, wrote of seeing an enormous jellyfish-like animal at least 50 feet in diameter south of Bermuda in his book, The Devil's Triangle. At the time, Weiner was performing oceanographic work for General Electric alongside a diver named Pat Boatwright. A good diver name right there.
They're great. Yeah, these are both silly and great names.
Mm-hmm. That was engaged in filming buoys underwater. However, by the time the jellyfish appeared, he had allegedly used up his camera film. Well, isn't that convenient, Weiner?
Get him, Jordan.
This is his quote. I had finished filming the movement of an instrumentation buoy in rough seas. The last of my film had run through the camera when my safety diver, Pat Boatwright, grabbed me by the shoulder and pointed downward. It was late in the afternoon, and the rough seas were distorting the light that penetrated into the depths. What I saw was phenomenal. How deep it was or its size, I couldn't tell. It might have been 100 feet beneath us and maybe 150 feet. Its size, I could only guess at maybe 100 feet across, possibly 75, but no less than 50 feet in diameter. It was crazy. Perfectly round. Its color was a deep purple. It was moving slowly up towards us. Get out of there! You gotta get out!
You're gonna be enveloped. It's just gonna wrap around you.
Sharkmented. At its outer perimeter, there was a form of pulsation. Once again, they're reporting this pulsation like the other guy did back in the 50s. There was no movement of water. As we started for the surface, it stopped its ascent. Then slowly, it began to descend into the blackening depths. Awe-stricken, we watched until it was no more. Wow, it really seems like some kind of strange ambush predator that is like relies on things not being able to see below them.
Yeah, it's a under hunter.
Under hunter.
And that fits with, like, these are jellyfish descriptions of how they hunt for food. I was reading that they're also very opportunistic hunters, and this is all very much so to like just waiting for you to be over it barely, and then it gets you.
Gonna get you.
Anyway, have fun swimming in the ocean, everyone.
Later, after observing swarms of much smaller jellyfish in the Marshall Islands, Weiner concluded that the larger animal had been a giant jellyfish. However, Boatwright believed it could have been a giant squid. And in light of the poor viewing conditions, Michael Raynal has suggested that it was a gigantic octopus, similar to the Lusca. You ever heard of the Lusca? That's a story for a different day. Or even a tightly packed shoal of small fish. Weiner revealed more details published alongside a sketch of what he saw in an interview with Gary Mangiacopra. 2 years later, the alleged observation occurred in November 1969 at a depth of 30 to 40 feet and lasted for around 4 or 5 minutes. The pulsating outer perimeter of the animal was pink. There is a sketch here. It's not very good. It pretty much looks like a cell that he drew, and he says purple inside, pink edge pulsating. So it's a circle within a circle. 1970s. We're getting into the 70s.
Nice.
An anonymous user claimed on an early online news group claimed that a friend of his working, a lot of people have trouble with that first sentence. Claimed that a friend of his working as an undersea welder in the Gulf of Mexico during the 1970s, that's what my dad did, reportedly often saw strange giant invertebrates, including giant headless glowing living fire hoses, as well as an undescribed predator which fed on the fire hoses. Chad Arment contacted the user for further information and was told that the welder in question was named George Hale and that he had died in 1994. Hale could not properly describe the predator, but it was supposedly built like a starfish or hydra. My friend George Hale was unable to describe the predator in detail. It was too big and too close to him. It was as big to him as you are to an ant. Wow. As a matter of fact, he had to ascend PDQ because he was in fear of being crushed like a bug. But the predator had a pallor and skin texture like a sea anemone, and it might have been built along the lines of a starfish or a freshwater pond hydra. It was eating the fire hose entity by swallowing its method of propulsion. Its method of propulsion is a mystery. That sounds like something completely different.
It sounds a little bit different. Although people really don't understand how because it's a jet propulsion. This sounds weird. It sounds like it just kind of like moved, like floated in the water to it.
Let's talk about these glowing fire hoses for a second. These are classified under giant invertebrates, sea serpent type. Giant invertebrates are Huvelmann's type of sea serpent, a wastebin category containing reports of giant elongated tunicates and stenophores, expanded to include cnidarians and ribbonworms by Michael Woodley. This type is also present under the same name in the Marshall system, blah, 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 bling. There was one that was filmed by an ROV and photographed that is called Marvin the Monster.
Good name.
If you want to Google Marvin the Monster, you will see some photographs of this allegedly long, glowing, living fire hose.
Very interesting.
Yeah, pretty crazy. Anyway, onwards. Other sightings. According to Russian, this is where we're back to the jellyfish here. According to Russian sources, at least 2 other sightings of the amorphous sea monster have been reported in local newspapers. Members of a Chilean hydrographic expedition to the South Pacific in 1968 told the press that they had seen an animal which resembled the Australian diver's black mass near an abyssal trench. A fatal encounter with such an animal allegedly occurred off Thailand in 2005 when a French scuba diver named Henri Astor told the press that he had observed a very large, strange brown mass paralyzing and killing a shoal of fish. Astor's unnamed companion allegedly disappeared after attempting to follow the entity.
Well, first of all, it's called a school of fish, sir.
Some people call it shoal.
They're unaccredited in my eyes.
We get into the theories down here. The largest known species of jellyfish is the lion's mane jelly, Cyanea capillata, which is found in the temperate to cold waters of the northern hemisphere. A record specimen by Alexander Agassiz in Massachusetts Bay held a diameter of 7 foot 6 inches with tentacles 120 feet long, which is larger than a blue whale.
Oh, damn. But we're talking also just head masses the size of 100 feet. So that's horrific. Don't get me wrong. Yeah.
But it also would be dwarfed by what these people are claiming to have seen. John Malakia of West Greenland testified under oath that he had seen an example with a bell width rather than a diameter of more than 8 feet. These are described merely as unusually large specimens of the known species, although the Arctic variety was formerly classified as a distinct species. There is a theory that that these are species of lion's mane jellies that are growing due to the heating of the ocean, due to changes from climate change, stuff like that. And who knows, someday we might be living in jelly world where every inch of the ocean is taken up by these gigantic kaiju size fucking eat you from below ass motherfuckers.
We'll have to build those bone mechs you were talking about earlier.
Yes, the bone mechs will come in handy. The sudden paralysis of the shark could be explained by the venomous stinging cells of a giant jellyfish. Such cells occur on the body as well as the tentacles.
Okay.
So there you go.
So just jellyfish, don't touch them no matter what.
Yeah, just try not to touch them. And once again, the ocean is a delicate, inexhaustible source of nightmares. And you don't have to go there. You should go there because it's fun, and we should try to save the ocean because of the creatures and the resources that are there that we all need to survive on this planet. But also, don't go there.
Don't go there. And if you do go there, make sure your submarine is proper.
Yeah.
Because besides the pressure, there's also this thing, which I think might just be able to crush you with its awesome mouth.
I mean, I hate to be that guy, but maybe that's what got them. Maybe that's what got those submariners that went down. You know? Giant jelly.
All right. Werewolf Radar throws it out there. We don't care what you're saying, scientists. We're saying giant jellyfish.
Giant jelly. Blooped them up.
Working with the orcas to kill the rich.
And I think that's going to do it for this week's episode of Werewolf Radar. Nate Balding, wherever you are, we salute you for your ongoing battle against the Horcrux.
You know where Nate is? This is my bad. Nate is actually going to be going house to house and thanking all of our pingos, as I am also doing right now with our Dark Council shout out. Are you ready, Jordan?
I'm ready.
It's a new month. Thank you, Pingos. Thank you, Dark Council members, for supporting us. We have Nick Bailey, Michael King, Jason Odell, Phil Corridor, Jimmy Smith, Spooky Appalachia, Janet Bravo, Dylan Gutierrez, Bob Ryan, AWOL51, Amanda, Tobias Livingston, the most well-prepared dead guy, Marcelo Durand, Lee Southwell, Elliot Broder, Alicia Coy, Cheesebot O'Doom, Abby Klaboo, Ryan Flint, Jessica, Jake Specht, a Curian Soldier, Dean Malik, Dakota Vincent, Ryan Ely, Adra Kinkle, and our Chancellor of Madness, Egon and Felix. So if you hear a weird knock on your door at 3:33 at
it'll
night,
sound like rat-a-tat, rat-a-tat, rat-a-tat.
Yes. Do not open the door. But no, that is Nate saying thank you for being a Dark Council member.
And we do. We thank you so much.
We do.
For your continued support of the show. Please check us out on Twitch, where we are twitch.tv/werewolf_radar. You can check us out on Instagram, Twitter, werewolfradar.com, friggin' anywhere podcasts are purveyed, and you can chuck us 5 stars, which will help people find the show, which will help spread the word of the wave of darkness that is coming to consume us, and will help increase our chances of survival. If you really, really like what we do, you can go to patreon.com/Werewolf Radar, and you can become a Patreon member too. You can join the Dark Council. You can come watch live as we record the podcast, and you will get a whole bunch of additional content every month and our unending love. And I think that's it. We're going to go look for Nate. We're going to go dredge him up from the bottom of the ocean where he was swallowed by a gigantic brown mass. And until next time, as always, on the count of 3, our sign-off line, 1, 2, 3, punch the sky, Spaceman Joe.
We've done it again.